Hey guys, I was talking about my domain in my first part. That's where my first video stopped. So it's the second continuation of the second part. So in that video, I was saying, this is how I extend the additional property that I need for my user object. And that's how, okay. I was about to go over my model. So, as I told you, my model this is how my model looks like. I have the establishment. Establishment will, like I told you, will have a multiple location, just like a restaurant. Could be a headquarter and multiple location or whatever, or department, the same thing. So that's why I have this establishment have many locations. And then this is just the address. If I go into establishment location, I have a location address. I want to capture what's the address of that location. I would like to know the contact information of that location and in the category, whether that establishment is a restaurant or a nightclub or whatever, and then bunch of rating that establishment has. That's why I have the rating. The rating object is very simple. This ratings is basically an enumeration. Basically, this one I got it from Elk website. Differently, that's their category of rating, like Elk or male. Okay, yeah, ooh, or whatever. Here you can replace whatever you like, whatever your business thing is appropriate. And I have a property called rating, and the description, that's the text that user enter, and this is the rating date, that when the rating was done. And this is application user, mean the person who currently logged in user information, so that I know who created the ratings, so who would give that review. And whether, so this is very cool, because as an admin, if later I decide some of the comment or review is very offensive and I don't like it to be displayed, I can avoid it. And this is the location to be rated, kind of like bi-directional relationship. And like I told you, this is my identity model, application user model. And okay, I didn't use this class. Okay, that is my model. Once I had my model ready, so basically what I did was, I used this code first design and I did the migration, and then it basically generated all the schema and everything into this local DB. That's what the Visual Studio automatically create all the schema into. But I don't want that to be. But once I'm satisfied, okay, I'm fine with my model, I can keep on refining it if I feel good. Then I finally say, okay, you know what, I'm going to do a final kind of like push. So instead of pointing my connection string, I want to modify this connection string setting in my web config file, so that it would actually go into my real database. That's where I will have my schema and everything. Okay, that's what I did. And after that, of course, well, even before that, of course, there's one more. You cannot just do migration without DB context, right? So here's my DB context. This application DB context right here. Okay. For each of my domain object, I have this IDB set. It's my establishment for the address, for the establishment category, location, and rating, all of those. And as you can see, my application DB context is inheriting from my DB context. This feature is provided by default by the Asp NET MVC. And in the constructor of this one, I'm basically saying, hey, this is the default connection. In the default connection, I have my web configuration, or the connection string pointing to my local database. Okay, of course, once that is all done, then I can do migration, right? That's what I did, and that generated basically this table here. It created that fake Yelp database and all this table that I need for my application. Okay, that is that. The next thing after that, what I did was I created a little folder called DAO. In the DAO, now I'm going to show you the structure of my data access code. Here is start with my repository. So basically I have an interface. This interface is a generic version of the interface where T is of course just a class, in some basic kind of CRUD or some basic CRUD operation for entity framework that I need. I need to save it, I need to delete an object, I need to retrieve it, I need to get all those kind of stuff. And I define basic kind of signature to my contract, right, my interface. And once all that is done, then I define my data repository. As you can imagine now, this data repository basically implement this interface. This is where I will have to basically I do the implementation of those. The implementation is very simple. So basically, here is a generic version that's IDB sets. That would allow me to put that any data, any T that comes into that, and so that I can persist or delete or whatever. Okay, this is very common, very simple. I'm not going to go over this one. And then once that is all defined, I'm going to go over. Now what I can do, let's say I need to persist the establishment location. So just one example is I establishment, then like for each individual these the classes I might have sometime, like the generic version might not be sufficient. In that case, what I can do is like I create an interface that is very specific to just to this object or this table establishment location, and it is inheriting from this common I repository. That way I have access to all the public method from that interface, and at the same time I can define any other different kind of method that I need in here in this interface, and corresponding to that I will have a public method called establishment location repository. All that guy does is basically it inherits from this base class, right, this abstract base class, and also implement this interface. That is all of my repository follow exactly the same pattern. All of them basically inherit from base abstract base class, and then basically if they need any additional functionality, I'll provide the interface right here, and that interface would provide additional functionality that I need only specific to this particular object. Okay, that's how my DAO looks like currently. And of course, once that is all defined, as I told you in the beginning of the video, my goal is to how to inject all these as some kind of IOC container, so that I don't have to worry about creating instances of all these objects, which is really bad. I mean, like, so instead of relying as a developer, instead of an object controller knowing all kind of dependency, wouldn't be cool if like some kind of outside container would basically handed over all the things that the controller needs. That's the next thing I'm going to talk about. Of course, as you know, I mean, a lot of people have their own preferences of IOC container. In my career, I've been using Spring.NET for a long time. And I really liked it, but recently, but I always would like to learn new things. That's my idea. I mean, like, if you just always stick to your one way of programming, if you didn't learn new thing, it's not really satisfying to me. So I started looking into different IOC container, so, and one that I recently started is a castlewinsor, and I decided to use this one here is because the documentation is very easy and easily configurable and very easy to use, and then I have used others too, like Ninja and stuff. Most of them are very easy to implement. So once you understand the basic idea about IOC, you know them. Okay. Of course, so how are we going to start the IOC? So basically, very first thing, of course, you need to have that DLL, right? That assembly. So basically,